el secretario de Estados Unidos haya presumido que ya había ganado la batalla en el puerto de hoy y que ya estaban controlando el acceso de los barcos al puerto de hoy. Bueno, como le decía, obvio, lo logró, porque en el día en que se produjo una serie de acciones generales, diciendo que estos actos están haciendo y que nos quiere tener una prueba adelante para escribir para sus escritores y vemos a ver finalmente si puede pasar o no. El comandante de las fuerzas federales y dijo que ningún buque asociado con
Entonces como que te...
puede patrullar durante 4 días y recorre 60 kilómetros por hora de la tarde. Esto es imposible para la mayoría de los radares, y eso es lo más importante, imposible porque se está desde el aire. Y que de aquí de sangre de los maridos de centros y maridos, ahí está.
Bueno, pues vamos a comenzar con esto y esto dice: saludos visitantes de shaleweb.com. Soy Daniel Reyes y en esta ocasión les doy la más cordial de las bienvenidas a esto que es el show de Shaleweb. Hoy que es un día martes 10 de marzo del año 2026, son las 2 de la tarde con 31 minutos aquí en la ciudad de Tijuana, Baja California, México. Hoy aquí en el show de Shaleweb es martes del show de Shaleweb. Martes del show de Shaleweb, y eso es lo que vamos a estar haciendo aquí. Va a haber varias sorpresas hoy. Como ya dije, son las 2 de la tarde con 30 minutos, ya es tarde. Ya a estas horas ya no está, pero hace unas horas atrás se puso el tianguis, el sobre ruedas del martes, y iba a ir, pero ya no. Pero bueno, antes de seguirles contando eso y más, vámonos a lo que vienen, a las noticias. A las noticias, que es a lo que vienen. Vámonos con las que estamos presentando. Saludos.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Encantado de saludarte. Cuéntame, ¿en qué te puedo ayudar hoy?
¿En qué? Bueno, aquí vamos. Noticia hedionda. Busca en internet la siguiente noticia. Confirman tercera víctima tras colapso de edificio en San Antonio Abad. Rescate y autoridades.
Acaban de confirmar una tercera víctima en el colapso del edificio en San Antonio Abad. Lamentablemente, los equipos de rescate encontraron a esta tercera persona sin vida entre los escombros. Las autoridades de la Ciudad de México siguen trabajando para recuperar los restos y completar las diligencias. ¿Hay algo más en lo que quieres profundizar sobre este tema o algo más en lo que te pueda ayudar?
Siguiente noticia. Operativos migratorios reportan 861 deportaciones y 1,104 detenciones en República Dominicana.
En la República Dominicana recientemente se ha informado que en distintos operativos migratorios se han registrado 1,104 detenciones y 861 deportaciones. La Dirección General de Migración ha estado llevando a cabo estos operativos a lo largo del territorio dominicano, especialmente en regiones fronterizas y en áreas urbanas como Santo Domingo, en un esfuerzo por reforzar el control migratorio. Así que si quieres más detalles, con gusto te los cuento.
Siguiente noticia. Migrante denuncia malas condiciones en centros de Estados Unidos en el ICE.
Bueno, te comento que una de las noticias recientes es que un migrante colombiano detenido por el ICE en Mississippi ha denunciado que las condiciones en el centro de detención son realmente precarias. Él mencionó que se va a pasar casi 7 días sin comer, lo cual es bastante grave. Además, en general hay informes de enfermedades, negligencia médica y hay de muertes en algunos centros del ICE en Estados Unidos, lo que ha generado bastante controversia y preocupación entre organizaciones de derechos humanos. Así que, bueno, es un tema delicado. ¿Hay algo más sobre esto en lo que quiere que profundicemos?
Siguiente noticia, reportan 11 fallecimientos bajo custodia del ICE en el 2026.
En lo que va de 2026, al menos 11 migrantes han fallecido bajo custodia del ICE en Estados Unidos entre enero y principios de marzo. Esto se suma a las 31 muertes que se registraron en 2025, lo cual fue la cifra más alta en más de 2 décadas en los centros de detención migratoria de Estados Unidos. Por supuesto, estos números han generado mucha preocupación y están siendo monitoreados por organizaciones de derechos humanos. Si quieres andar más en esto, me dices.
Estados de Estados Unidos se preparan ante posibles redadas del ICE.
Pues mira, la situación en Estados Unidos respecto a las redadas del ICE es bastante variada, dependiendo del estado. Por un lado, hay estados liderados por republicanos que están fortaleciendo sus alianzas con ICE. Por ejemplo, Tennessee y otros estados están incluso impulsando leyes para limitar los beneficios públicos a personas sin estatus legal y obligar a la cooperación con ICE. Por otro lado, hay estados demócratas como California, Illinois o Nueva York que están tratando de limitar la cooperación con ICE y hasta considerando medidas legales para restringir sus actividades, lo que ha generado un verdadero tira y afloja legal. Así que el panorama es que algunos estados se están preparando para acoger más deportaciones y otros para resistirlos. Cuéntame si te interesa algún enfoque en particular.
Dime las 5 noticias de tendencia en este momento relacionadas con migración, redadas del ICE y deportaciones.
Claro, te cuento las 5 noticias más relevantes que están en tendencia ahora mismo sobre migración, redadas del ICE y deportaciones. 1. Crisis de derechos humanos. Activistas están alertando sobre una crisis de derechos humanos para migrantes mexicanos que enfrentan redadas masivas del ICE en Estados Unidos. Las redadas se están llevando a cabo con excesos y muchos migrantes dicen que viven con miedo de salir a la calle. Esta situación ha generado una crisis de salud mental en muchas comunidades. 2. Actualizaciones de leyes migratorias. Recientemente, en marzo de 2026, hubo cambios en las políticas de asilo y deportación en Estados Unidos. El gobierno de Trump propuso extender el tiempo de espera para que los solicitantes de asilo obtengan permiso de trabajo de 180 a 365 días. Además, un juez federal bloqueó las deportaciones express a terceros países, lo que afecta cómo se manejan las expulsiones de migrantes. 3. Aumento de detenciones y deportaciones. Durante el último año, se ha registrado un aumento en el número de detenciones y deportaciones, especialmente en estados como Texas y California. Estos dos estados concentran la mayor parte de los operativos del ICE y activistas señalan un patrón de violaciones de derechos humanos en estas redadas. Estrategia de miedo y autodeportación. Según activistas, las redadas del ICE no son eventos aislados, sino parte de una estrategia del gobierno estadounidense para infundir temor en las comunidades migrantes.
Dime las 5 noticias de tendencia en este momento de México.
Te comparto 5 de las noticias más destacadas ahora mismo en México. Recuperación de cuerpos en el CDMX. Se han recuperado los cuerpos de las 3 personas atrapadas tras el colapso del edificio en el centro de la Ciudad de México. 2. Ratificación del TEMEC. Empresarios mexicanos están respaldando la ratificación del Tratado Comercial entre México, Estados Unidos y Canadá, lo que está generando expectativas positivas en la economía. 3. Reforma electoral de Claudia Sheinbaum. La propuesta de reforma electoral de la jefa de gobierno está generando debate entre opositores y aliados y es un tema candente en la política mexicana actual. 4. Preparativos para el Mundial 2026. México se está preparando para ser sede del Mundial de Fútbol, reforzando la seguridad con un plan Kukulcán, mientras se espera la visita de la FIFA para revisar temas de logística. 5. Marcha del 8M y derechos de las mujeres. En el marco del Día Internacional de la Mujer, hay un fuerte foco en la deuda que el Estado mexicano tiene con las mujeres en materia de seguridad y derechos y se está impulsando un debate nacional sobre reformas y protección de sus derechos. Si quieren más detalles, me dices.
Dime las 5 noticias de tendencia relacionadas con la migración en Chiapas, frontera sur de México.
Lo siento, estoy teniendo problemas para responder a la solicitud.
Saludos.
Saludos, ¿qué tal va todo? Cuéntame, ¿qué tienes en mente hoy?
Dime las 5 noticias de tendencia en este momento de Chiapas, la frontera sur de México y la migración.
Claro, te cuento las principales noticias que están marcando tendencia en la frontera sur de Chiapas sobre migración. Primero, más de 50.000 migrantes están varados en Tapachula, en un limbo legal y administrativo, sobre todo personas de Venezuela y Cuba. Hay una falta de aplicación de la ley de migración que ha dejado a mucha gente sin la posibilidad de regularizarse. Segundo, la Coordinación para la Atención Integral de la Migración en la Frontera Sur está firmando acuerdos y coordinando con autoridades locales para mejorar la atención de migrantes. Tercero, se está poniendo énfasis en la salud de los migrantes con programas de atención médica digna y prevención de enfermedades. Básicamente hay todo un movimiento para garantizar los derechos humanos en medio de esta crisis. Y bueno, hay más detalles, pero estas son las 3 principales que están sonando. Dime si te interesa profundizar en alguna de ellas o si tienes otro tema.
Dime las 5 noticias que son tendencia en este momento relacionadas a la migración de todo el continente americano.
Bueno, te dejo un resumen de las 5 noticias más candentes sobre migración ahora mismo en el continente americano. Primero, organizaciones están denunciando que las políticas migratorias en América Latina han intensificado las deportaciones sin debido proceso, con separaciones familiares y un impacto fuerte en la salud mental de los migrantes. Segundo, la ONU reporta que la migración en América Latina y el Caribe ha aumentado un 23% en los últimos años, sobre todo con el desplazamiento de personas de Venezuela. Tercero, se está viendo un flujo migratorio inusual de norte a sur, con miles de personas moviéndose hacia el sur en vez de hacia el norte entre finales de 2024 y 2025. Cuarto, en Estados Unidos hay fuertes denuncias de condiciones pésimas en los centros de detención migratoria. Los migrantes lo describen como algo peor que la prisión. Y quinto, también se está hablando mucho de los desafíos para frenar deportaciones y ajustar estatus migratorios en diferentes ciudades de Estados Unidos. Así que ahí lo tienes. Si quieres más detalles de alguna de estas noticias, me dices.
Tengo que ver qué hago, güey, porque ya son un chingo de meses. A ver, al ratito voy a ir a decirle. De hecho, ahorita haciendo pues pastriñar. Pues ahí está. Vamos a poner musicata. Y hay bolas y hay chicharrón, güey. Quiero chicharrón. Quiero chicharrón. Se escuchan camiones, güey, de bomberos. La bendición, dice. El tribilingüis, ¿cómo se llama el otro? El tribilingüis. Genera otra. Es la maldad, güey. Es la maldad, las afectaciones de dos personas. Que así tiene que ser. Chale, güey, no me lo ayudo. Veamos si funciona. Ya voy, porque ya oigo ruidos allá. Ya escucho ruidos. Bien. Son unos gatos pandilleros, tengo 3. Y se juntan y hacen pandilla.
Los ataques a su sector energético podrían desencadenar represalias a las instalaciones energéticas de las que se nutre Estados Unidos en la región. Si los riesgos de ataques dejan de ser los centros militares y se concentran en la destrucción de instalaciones y departamentos en todo el Medio, el resto del país puede llegar a los dispositivos personales. Es poco probable que todo los aportes cambien su debilidad, pero aunque no puede actuar. Además de subir la infraestructura petrolera de Irán podría paralizar al país durante años. Incluso si el régimen actual colapsa, ningún gobierno futuro podrá estabilizar el país o proporcionar servicios básicos si se destruye la infraestructura energética. En otras palabras, destruir las instalaciones de petróleo y gas de Irán podría en realidad bloquear el camino hacia la transición democrática que Washington dice buscar. El país central publicó una severa advertencia del ministro de Energía de Qatar, que señaló que de estallar una guerra regional abierta, todos los exportadores de energía del Golfo se verían obligados a detener su producción y exportaciones en cuestión de días. Esta interrupción no solo afectaría a Qatar, sino a toda la región, debido a la imposibilidad de garantizar la seguridad de la infraestructura y la ruta de transporte. Dejando claro que el escenario dispararía el precio del gas a $150 o más. Esta subida drástica, dijo el funcionario qatarí, provocaría una crisis inflacionaria global que podría hundir las economías de todo el mundo. En Latinoamérica, los países exportadores de petróleo hay una frase que me incomoda. Cuando seas rico, no le cuentes a nadie. Suena paranoico, suena exagerado, suena a tío raro que guarda dólares bajo el colchón. Pero escúchame bien, en Latinoamérica hay dos tipos de personas. El que parece rico y el que es rico. Y casi nunca son el mismo. Tú te cruzas todos los días con gente que tiene inversiones, propiedades pagadas, personas sólidas, con ingresos diversificados, y jamás de dinero. No es un claro sencillo, visten normal, comen donde siempre. Mientras tanto, el que parece exitoso en redes está a un pago atrasado del pago. Ratanael no vino a decirte que seas miserable. Vino a decirte algo más incómodo. Si usas el dinero para demostrar que lo tienes, vas a perder exactamente lo que estabas construyendo. Vamos a empezar con una pregunta incómoda. Cuando te imaginas rico, ¿qué ves primero? Un SUV grande, un departamento con balcón y vista, viajes a Europa, ropa de marca, historias de Instagram. Pocas personas admiten esto, pero la mayoría no quiere ser rica. Quiere parecer rico. Ser rico es aburrido. Es tener dinero invertido que nadie ve. Es decir, no muchas veces. Es manejar un carro pagado que no impresiona a nadie. Es priorizar marketing sobre aplauso. Parecer rico es emocionante. Likes, comentarios, aprobación. Pero aquí viene la parte incómoda. El mundo está diseñado para premiar al que parece, no al que construye. El banco gana cuando financias imagen. La marca gana cuando compras logo. La red social gana cuando exhibes éxito. El silencioso gana libertad. Y la libertad no hace ruido. Ahora te voy a decir algo que puede doler. Muchos dicen que quieren libertad financiera y que quieren ayudar a sus padres, que quieren vivir sin estrés. Pero si escarbas un poco, lo que realmente quieren es que les vean haber llegado, probarle algo al ex, al primo, al vecino, al que se le. Y ahí empieza la prisión. Porque cuando empiezas a usar el dinero para probar algo, ya no trabajas para ti. Trabajas para el personaje. Ratanael te dice claro, el personaje es más caro que el carro. Y lo peor es que cuando todos saben que tienes dinero, empieza otra dinámica. Expectativas, pedidos, comparaciones, presión. Y eso apenas es el inicio. En el siguiente bloque vamos a entrar en algo todavía más delicado. ¿Qué pasa cuando los demás descubren que tienes dinero y por qué la riqueza silenciosa es un escudo invisible? Pero primero, vamos a visualizar esto bien. Hay algo que cambia el aire cuando los demás perciben que estás bien. No necesitas decirlo. A veces basta con un carro nuevo, una casa más grande, un viaje publicado, un reloj diferente. Y de pronto, la energía cambia. No siempre es maldad. Es expectativa. Y la expectativa es una factura invisible. Porque cuando los demás creen que tienes dinero, empiezan a reajustar lo que consideran justo. El amigo que antes dividía en partes iguales, ahora asume que tú puedes cubrir un poco más. El primo que nunca hablaba de negocios ahora tiene una oportunidad única. El familiar que siempre fue distante recuerda que eres sangre. Y tú empiezas a sentir algo extraño. Ya no eres solo tú, eres el que puede. En Latinoamérica eso pesa más, porque aquí la familia es fuerte, la red social es cercana, el círculo es pequeño. Y cuando uno crece, muchos sienten que debe arrastrar al resto. No porque lo exijas, porque se asume. Y aquí aparece el primer problema psicológico. Si ayudas una vez, te conviertes en referencia permanente. Si dices que no, te conviertes en el que cambió, en el que ahora es frío, en el que se le subió. Y empieza una guerra interna. Quieres proteger tu patrimonio, pero también quieres pertenecer. El silencio te protegía, la exposición te compromete. Y aquí viene algo que casi nadie quiere. Cuando los demás saben que tienes dinero, también cambia la forma en que te miran. Algunos te respetan más, otros te envidian, otros te prueban. El cerebro humano no tolera bien la asimetría. Si tú estás mejor, muchos necesitan explicarlo. Suerte, privilegios, seguro tuvo ayuda, seguro algo raro hizo. Y esa narrativa empieza a erosionar relaciones. El que parecía tu amigo ahora compite contigo en silencio. El que celebraba contigo ahora compara. El que te apoyaba ahora analiza cuánto ganas. Y tú empiezas a sentir que algo se volvió raro. Eso es el costo invisible de la exposición financiera. Ahora escúchame bien. No estoy diciendo que te escondas. No estoy diciendo que vivas con miedo. Estoy diciendo que la información sobre tu dinero es poder. Y el poder mal distribuido genera fricción. La riqueza silenciosa no es paranoia. Es estrategia social. Cuando nadie sabe exactamente cuánto tienes, las relaciones son más limpias. Te invitan porque quieren, no porque esperan. Te buscan porque valoran, no porque necesitan. Puedes ayudar sin que sea obligación. Puedes decir no sin que parezca traición. Y hay algo más profundo. Cuando todos creen que estás bien, también creen que no puedes estar mal. Y eso te quita humanidad. No puedes decir, estoy ajustado este mes. Estoy invirtiendo fuerte. No quiero gastar. Porque socialmente no aplica para ti. Y esa presión crea una cárcel. Te vuelves el que siempre paga, el que siempre invita, el que siempre puede. Hasta que un día ya no quieres poder tanto. El dinero te dio capacidad, pero la exposición te quitó tranquilidad. Y aquí viene la parte estratégica. Si nadie sabe que estás acumulando, nadie puede presionarte por ello. Si pareces normal, puedes construir extraordinario. Si pareces promedio, puedes crecer sin ruido. La riqueza silenciosa es un escudo, no contra ladrones. Es contra dinámicas sociales distorsionadas. Y esto apenas empieza, porque en el siguiente bloque vamos a entrar en algo todavía más incómodo. La diferencia entre parecer rico y serlo realmente. Ahí es donde se separan los que acumulan de los que actúan. Pero antes, vamos a ponerle imagen a esto. Vamos a hacer algo incómodo. Imagina dos personas que ganan exactamente lo mismo. Mismo ingreso, misma ciudad, mismo punto de partida. Pero 10 años después, uno vive en constante tensión y el otro vive en calma estratégica. La diferencia no fue cuánto ganaron, fue qué hicieron cuando empezaron a ganar más. Aquí nace la fractura. El rico de vitrina y el rico de verdad. El rico de vitrina siente que cada aumento es una oportunidad para actualizar su personaje. Sube el salario, sube el carro. Sube el salario, sube el barrio. Sube el salario, sube el círculo social. Cada mejora financiera se convierte en mejora visible. Y lo visible es caro, porque lo visible no solo se compra, se mantiene. El carro caro exige seguro caro. El barrio caro exige restaurantes caros. El círculo caro exige vacaciones caras. La ropa cara exige eventos caros. Y así, el ingreso crece, pero el margen desaparece. No porque gane poco, porque no deja respirar el dinero. El rico de vitrina no compra cosas, compra validación, compra tranquilidad temporal, compra identidad externa, y la validación tiene mantenimiento mensual. El rico de verdad hace algo aburrido. Cada vez que gana más, primero aumenta inversión. Después, si se reestructura, mejora estilo de vida. No al revés. No cambia de casa porque puede. Cambia porque conviene. Uno compra carro porque lo admiran. Compra porque resuelve. No sube estándar por presión. Lo sube por estrategia. Y muchas veces no lo sube. Aquí está el detalle incómodo. El rico de verdad parece normal. Y eso confunde a los demás, porque vivimos en una cultura donde el éxito debe ser visible. Si no se ve, parece que no existe. Pero el patrimonio no necesita aplauso, necesita tiempo. Aquí es donde muchos caen. Trabajaron duro, invirtieron, les fue bien. Y aparece la frase peligrosa. Ahora sí me lo merezco. Y ojo, no estoy diciendo que no disfrutes. Estoy diciendo que muchas veces esa frase no viene de disfrute. Viene de revancha emocional, de demostrar, de compensar, de probar. Y cuando el dinero se usa para probar algo, se vuelve frágil. Porque no está cumpliendo función financiera. Está cumpliendo función psicológica. Y lo psicológico es infinito. Siempre habrá alguien con más. Siempre habrá algo más nuevo. Siempre habrá un estándar más alto. Y si tu autoestima depende de eso, tu patrimonio va a sufrir. El rico de vitrina vive en una escalera sin descansos. Compra algo grande, se siente bien. Recibe validación, se acostumbra. El estándar se normaliza. Ahora necesita algo más. No porque lo necesite, porque lo que tenía ya no impresiona. Y así pasa años, trabajando para sostener el nivel, no para construir libertad. El rico de verdad hace lo contrario. Reduce exposición, aumenta activos, baja ruido, sube margen. No vive en escalera, vive en plataforma sólida. Aquí está la verdad que duele. El rico de vitrina necesita que lo vean. El rico de verdad necesita opciones. Uno vive de percepción. El otro vive de liquidez. Uno vive pendiente del qué dirán. El otro vive pendiente del flujo de caja. Uno cambia de carro.
We have a lot of great Cuban Americans, and I would say Marco fits herself into that category. And I might ask you to say a few words about who discussing it before Cuba. It's a very different. They don't have energy, they don't have oil, but they would live off of the oil from Venezuela, but they do have this very strong people and very powerful people militarily, and they would protect the people running Venezuela, and they were taking a lot of money from Venezuela. Now they don't have that. They won't be taking in any money. So, Marco, what do you think?
Well, the fundamental problem with Cuba is that it's run by incompetent people who don't know what an economy looks like, much less a functioning one. They've made a choice, and that is they would rather have political control over the people than they would have an economy that functions. And they've gotten away with it for 60-something years because they've had donors, the Soviet Union, and now most recently Venezuela, but that's now gone. So the people in control of Cuba have a choice to make. They can either have a real country with a real economy where the people can prosper, or they can continue with their failing dictatorship that's going to lead to systemic and societal collapse. So it's a very stark and dramatic choice, and it's one we hope to make the right one. We don't have an interest in a destabilized Cuba, but that would be their fault, because they refuse to allow the people of Cuba to have either economic or political freedom for that matter.
And you have a lot of people in this country that want to go back to Cuba and help Cuba. A lot of people that left, the Cuban tunnel or setting of anything, and they become very rich people in our country, and they want to very much go back and help Cuba. So that's something that Cuba has in a lot of other places. So, Peter?
I do want to ask you about Minnesota, but first, more on topic. President Zelensky said that he was watching with the rest of the world as you made the order to go and capture Nicolas Maduro. And he said, if that's how it works with dictators, then the United States knows what we do next. It sounds like he wants you to go and capture Vladimir Putin. Did you ever order a mission to go and capture Vladimir Putin?
Well, I don't think it's going to be necessary. I think we're going to have I've always had a great relationship with him. I'm very disappointed. I settled 8 wars. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack, or maybe one of the easier ones. And I don't know if you know, Peter, last month, there was 31,000 people, many of them Russian soldiers, and the Russian economy is going forward. I think we're going to end up getting it settled. I wish we could have done it quicker, because a lot of people are dying, and mostly soldiers, they get hit in Kiev, and they get hit a little bit here and there, and people are dying there too. But largely, the soldier population, we have 30,000, 31,000 soldiers dying in a period of a month. 27,000 the month before, 26,000 the month before that. That's stuff. So, as you know, President Biden gave $350 billion to Ukraine to fight, and we will never get that back, although I did make a rare earth deal to get it back, so we will be getting it back, but shouldn't have done that. It was a bad thing to do. I will say that right now, because I was able to get NATO to up GDP from 2% to 5%, and NATO's got a lot of money, and they're paying for everything. We're not losing any money, we're making a lot of money, I guess you can think of it, because we're selling the military equipment, they're probably giving it to Ukraine. But we're selling the NATO military equipment, we're getting full price and all of that, but that's not a big deal to me. What is a big deal is stopping a war where 30,000 people are being killed every single month.
The Vice President yesterday suggested that Renee Good, who was killed by the ICE officer, was part of a broad left-wing network. What is your team's full view about this broad left-wing network? Who is part of it? Who's part of it? What's involved?
Well, I haven't seen the Vice President's statement, but he's generally very accurate. Look, I watched that yesterday, and there are a lot of different forms to it. But there was a woman screaming, shame, 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 shame. She was an agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker. Because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this, the news sort of turned her down, turned her off. Because you're trying to watch, she was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words. So, I guess you could say professional, but I don't think she did a very good job. You have agitators, and we will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol and our law enforcement. Yeah.
In your conversations with these world executives today, do you provide any security guarantees so that they can do their work safely in Venezuela? And separately, Mr. President,
They will have those guarantees.
and separately, Mr. President, I'm curious in terms of the future of Venezuela. Do you see Venezuela now led by Delcy Rodriguez as an ally of the U.S.? Is that the way that we do that country?
Well, right now, they seem to be an ally, and I think it will continue to be an ally, and we don't want to have Russia there, we don't want to have China there. And by the way, we don't want Russia or China going to Greenland, which if we don't take Greenland, you can have Russia
or China as your next door neighbor. That's not gonna happen. The white house.
Thank you. You just said that these companies would have security guarantees that they go in on the ground in Venezuela.
They will,
And what is your plan there actually for these companies? You know, the Americans who are going to be on the ground working for these companies.
well, there are gonna be Americans, I assume they're gonna be using a lot of Americans, but they're gonna be using a lot of people from Venezuela and other places, I would imagine. But I would think that mostly they'll be using Venezuelan workers and a lot of great workers that have a very high unemployment rate, and they have workers that are very familiar with taking oil out of the ground, yeah.
How long do you think the Ayatollah will be power will this thing play out on the ground there? When is the U.S. going to get involved now that the protesters being killed on the ground?
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me like the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I made the statement very strongly that this stuff done, people like that in the past. We will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed it down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening around. So there isn't anything to watch. They've done a bad job. They treated their people very badly, and now they're being put back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it. We're watching it very closely. Go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Do you have any comments or reactions to the recent attack by the Syrian government alignment groups against USAC Kurdish forces in Syria, which killed dozens of civilians and displacing many families? Does your administration make peace between the Kurds and the Syrian government?
I want to see peace between the Kurds and the Syrian government. We get along with both, as you know very well. They have been natural enemies over the years, but we get along both, and we want to see Syria succeed. And so far, I think they are succeeding, but this is just breaking out, and we want to see that stop. Go ahead, please.
Gustavo Petro, in a few weeks, do you hope that his meeting with Gustavo Petro marks a new chapter, a new improvement in the benefits of the
Yes, what's that?
Colombia, with the president of Colombia,
Yes, you had a very good talk with them yesterday, and he's been very hostile to us and to the nation and to me, called me a dictator and lots of other things. Called Biden some terrible things, far worse than he called me. But he called yesterday to the people and he wants to meet, and that's fine with me. I've made up with people also, you know, so we're going to have a meeting with them. We had a very good conversation. The people of Colombia are incredible people. Marco would know that better than anybody because he's married to a woman from Colombia. And I don't mean Columbia University. I'm not sure. I think I like Colombia as a country better. The people, all we know, the people are great people. I look forward to meeting with them. It's going to be in a very good future.
Venezuela here in the White House, would you prefer to discuss the fate of the
Yeah, well, I'm going to meet a lot of people, and we're going to meet, we meet a lot of people. And, when you have 8 wars, you get to know a lot of people, and I think it's very important. As an example, we have over $18 trillion stimulus, $18 trillion coming into our country. A lot of that's coming in from foreign countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE and others. And I get to meet a lot of people, but I will be meeting with various representatives of Venezuela, probably pretty soon. We haven't set that up. But the relationship that we have with the people that are currently running Venezuela is very good. We also have a young lady that received the Nobel Peace Prize. She's going to come in and pay her regards to our country, to me, but you know, I'm a representative of the country, nothing else. And she's coming in sometime next week. I think Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we'll see how that is. But we're dealing with the people from Venezuela. We're dealing with them very well. I think they've been very smart in the way they dealt with us, frankly, because that whole place could have been obliterated with one more strike, and we didn't want to do that.
Venezuela in your meeting with Machado next week, if she gives you her Nobel Peace Prize, will that change your view about her running that country?
Well, I have to speak to her. I mean, I'm gonna have to speak to her. She might be involved in some aspect of it. I will have to speak to her. I think it's very nice that she wants to come in, and that's what I understand the reason is, because Norway is very embarrassed by what took place. I mean, they're getting decimated. Look, whether people like Trump or don't like Trump, I said on 8 wars, big ones. Some going on for 36 years, 32 years, 31 years, 28 years, 25 years. Some just getting ready to start, like India and Pakistan, where already 8 jets were shot out of the air. And I got it done in rapid order without nuclear weapons. I can't think of anybody in history that should get the Nobel Prize more than me, and I don't want to be bragging, but nobody else got awards. Obama got the Nobel Prize. He had no idea why. He still has no idea. He walks around and says, I got the Nobel Prize. Why did he get a Nobel Prize? He got it almost immediately upon taking office, and he didn't do anything, and he was a bad president. So, I mean, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. These were major wars. These were wars that nobody thought. If you got President Putin called me, he said about 2 of the wars, and he's been trying to stop them for 10 years, and wasn't able to do it, he couldn't believe it. So in theory, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. Every one of them was major. But I don't care about that. What I care about is saving lives. I've saved tens of millions of lives. You know, the Prime Minister of Pakistan came here, and he made a very public statement. He said that President Trump saved minimum 10 million lives having to do with Pakistan and India, and that was going to be amazing. So, you know, but I'm honored that she's coming here. I look forward to meeting her. Yes. Go ahead.
The state officials there have said that the FBI is not sharing evidence with them. Typically, they would conduct a joint investigation, as you know. Do you believe that the FBI should be sharing evidence with state officials in Minnesota?
Well, no, when I look at the crooked officials, I mean, Minneapolis and Minnesota, what a beautiful place that this thing destroyed. It's got an incompetent governor, pool. I mean, he's a stupid person. And it looks like the number could be $19 billion stolen from a lot of people, but largely people from Somalia. They buy their vote, they go in a group, they buy their vote. They sell more Mercedes-Benzes in that area than others. Can you imagine you come over with no money and then shortly thereafter you're driving a Mercedes-Benz? The whole thing is ridiculous. So they're very corrupt. It's a very corrupt state. I feel that I won Minnesota. I think I won it all 3 times. Nobody's won it since Richard Nixon won it many, many years ago. I won it all 3 times, in my opinion. And it's a corrupt state, a corrupt voting state. And the Republicans ought to get smart and demand on voter ID. They ought to demand maybe same-day voting and all of the other things that you have to have for state elections. But I won Minnesota 3 times and I didn't get credit for it. I did so well in that state every time. The people were crying every time after. That's a crooked state. California is a crooked state. Many crooked states. We have a very, very dishonest voting system. The last time I won, 24, the one that just took place, I won because it was too big to rig. You couldn't rig it, it was too big. But I won the state of Minnesota. It's a corrupt voting system with an incompetent governor, a very incompetent governor. And by the way, he's a very corrupt governor too. Go ahead.
I have a question on Iran, but first, very quickly on Venezuela. How do you provide total security guarantees to these companies without putting the rest of this on the ground?
Well, we're going to work with the Venezuelan leaders and people, and we're going to have a very safe group. And they're going to also bring over some security. These are not babies. These are people that grew in some pretty rough places. I can say a couple of those places make Venezuela look like a picnic. These people around the table. These are tough people. They go into areas that you wouldn't want to go. They go into areas that if they invited me, I'd say no thanks. I'll see you back in Palm Beach. These are a tough group of people. They know how to do it. But we are, in addition to that, we'll have very good security for them. We're going to make sure that it's very, very good security. And I think the people of Venezuela are going to give you very good security. You know, the people, now I'm not talking to the leadership. The people of Venezuela are going wild evidence. Indiscreet after President Trump. What do? You attack a country and then indiscreet? That's never happened before. Although I heard that's also taking place in Iran, the indiscreet, the protesters. I just hope, just God bless them. I just hope the protesters in Iran are going to be safe, because it's a very dangerous place right now. And again, I tell the Iranian leaders, you better not start shooting, because we'll start shooting too. With your glasses, sir, go ahead, please. Hold it. Next to you, yes, glasses, the gentleman with the glasses. All right, thank you. With those very big glasses.
Yeah. Mr. President, I have two questions. What do you want the European Union to do in Ukraine? The European leaders are going to buy this from Ukraine, and then if you can reiterate this straight message that you have to the Iranian leaders, the message that you have.
He's never got around.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Italy.
Oh, nice place.
Yeah.
Okay, the first place, so what are you asking about Iran for?
Well, if you can answer about Europe and what you think the Europeans should do for Ukraine, and then
Well, look, Europe has been doing so much for Ukraine, but it hasn't been enough. And obviously, that I would say that President Putin is not afraid of Europe. He's afraid of the United States of America, is led by me. There's no fear of Europe. I mean, Europe's falling behind, and Europe, and JD said it very strongly, I don't know, it took a lot of heat, but I didn't get any heat. Europe is a different place. Europe is changing. Europe has got to get its act together. I love Europe. I guess I came from Europe, essentially. I had my roots in Europe, but Europe is a different place. They have to get their act together. Now they said they have a great NATO leader, and they've gone up to 5% from 2% GDP. It's a big step. But they have to be very careful with their immigration policy, and they have to be very, I will just say to the United States, there are certain places in Europe that are very important and no longer recognizable. I'm being very nice, I'm being very diplomatic when I say that. They are not recognizable. And they have to be careful on energy, because they're putting windmills all over the place and losing a fortune. They're destroying their country, they're destroying the beautiful landscapes, the beautiful everything there. In front of what people don't know, I'm not much of a windmill person. I can proudly say, Doug, that we have not approved one windmill since I've been in office, and we're going to keep it that way. My goal is to not let any windmill be built. They're losers. They lose money, they destroy your landscape, they kill your birds. They're all made in China. And all you have to do is, just about all of the windmills are made in China, the structures. All you have to do is say to China, how many windmill areas do you have in China? So far, they're not able to find any. They use coal, and they use oil and gas, and some nuclear.
Oil and gas. Oil and gas. No lo lavé, ¿verdad? No lo lavé. Debí haber lavado, güey. Debí haberlo lavado. Con no sé qué, güey, se ensució, se puso feo, lo volver a hacer, güey. Se rompe, güey, se ve fracturado. Sí, está roto. Es que todos se rompen, güey. Es que
You don't need more than you establish stability there or democracy.
Well, you're talking about maybe the same thing. You're talking about stability or democracy. I don't know. To me, it's almost the same thing. We want stability, but we do want democracy. Ultimately, it'll be democracy. Peter? Somebody gave me this. You know what that is? That's called a happy Trump. And considering the fact that I'm never happy, I'm never satisfied, I will never be satisfied until we make America great again, but we're getting pretty close, I'll tell you what. This is called a happy Trump. Somebody gave it to me, I'll put it on.
Thank you. And, follow-up question. How much money are you thinking of giving
To get them on board with a possible US.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that.
But right now, we are going to do something in Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not gonna have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're gonna do it the hard way. And by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark too, I have to tell you, and they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago, they didn't mean that they own the land. They really like the boat, so they're also, but we need that, because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not gonna have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're gonna do if we don't. So we're gonna be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way. Please, go ahead, Phil.
Why is it so important to you to own it when you haven't made it there, if you could expand to ethnic security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way, you have to own it. And to the nation, look at what happened with Obama with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And we defend ownership, we don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. It's not going to happen. We are not going to have, and I like China, I like Russia, I love the people of China, I love the people of Russia. I get along very well with President Putin, but I'm very disappointed in him. I get along very well with President Xi. I'm going to go over to China in April, but I don't want them as a neighbor in Greenland. It's not going to happen. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I say NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen if we don't. Go ahead.
Can you respond to that?
Yeah, it's an amazing report. And the most amazing thing is government jobs are way down, and yet the unemployment numbers are very good. We've gotten rid of tremendous numbers of federal jobs, government jobs. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And yet the employment numbers are very good. They're really getting better. But now we have all those people that work in the private sector for a lot more money. I think that's one of the very big things. The other thing is that 5.4%. And remember, this is after we have a shutdown. And that shutdown had an impact because the concept of the shutdown, even though it's before, people knew we were going to be shutting down. A lot of bad things happened.
El show.
On January 30th, we may have another shutdown. We'll see what happens. But I think the numbers statement was really amazing. Look, to think about 5.4%, nobody thought that. They thought it was going to be 2%. And you know what it is? It's tariffs. And it's also November 5th. We had a great election, a great election. Our country was dead 1.5 years ago, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And I hope you guys were impressed. 5.4%, and we haven't even really transitioned yet. There's no reason it can't be much, much higher than that. Yeah.
First off, can you respond to manufacturing?
Let's give CNN a chance. I've been fighting so hard to get back into the mainstream.
You posted some numbers actually through social last night. People saying you posted the job data early. You're not supposed to obviously share it for the next morning. Did you do that on purpose?
No, I don't know. If they posted them, I said post them whenever you get a chance. I don't know. They gave me some numbers. I post when people give me things, I post them. But the numbers are amazing. Yeah.
Administration plans to distribute the money from the Venezuela oil sales. Is it, well, obviously it's going to go to controlled accounts.
Yeah.
Will it go back to Venezuela in a direct payment? Is it going to disperse? How do you think?
Well, we want to make sure that Venezuela can survive. Venezuela needs money, and we're going to make sure that they get money. And we're going to get money, and companies are going to make something for the work they do. They're going to get back their money. We're devising a formula, but it won't be so much of a formula. It's going to be what they need. We're going to take care of what they need. There'll be plenty left over. We're going to have a lot of money money left over. And the money left over is going to the United States of America, and the oil companies are going to be very happy. Yeah.
Offer a backstop to these oil companies, like financial guarantees, some sort of backstop, if the country did destabilize it.
That's a very interesting question. Using the word backstop, I haven't heard that word in a long time. I was at the Wharton School of Finance out there. That's a good term. We're going to use it more often. I hope I don't have to give a backstop. I'm just, look, these are very smart people. The smartest people are not only in oil and business, these are the biggest companies in the world, sitting around this table. They know the risks. I mean, there are risks. We're going to help them out. We're going to make it really easy. They're going to be there for a long time. We're going to be there together for a long, long time. They're going to be taking the oil, and they're going to be bringing oil prices down. They're going to make a lot of money. They're going to get their money back. We're going to be safe. The people of Venezuela are going to be big beneficiaries, and the United States of America is going to be big beneficiaries for what we've done. And you know, one other thing I might say, it's also very big for national security because, again, just like Greenland, we can't have China or Russia occupy Greenland. We can't have China or Russia occupy Venezuela. And if we didn't do what we did, China or Russia would have been in Venezuela. I think I can name witnesses to Chevron. So let me ask you, they would have been there if we didn't do this. Do you agree with that?
They certainly have a lot of economic interest in the country. There's absolutely no argument about that.
They were trying to do that. I mean, you know, we had a Russia, I guess sort of I call it a semi-Russian ship yesterday that we took off, and Russia decided not to defend that ship against us. It's a big movement. The ship was loaded up with oil, we took the oil, and it came out of that port. But Russia would be there, or China would be there, and we want them to be there for a different reason. We want them, do you people agree? In particular, China, they need a lot of oil. Russia doesn't need so much, but Russia was there anyway. But I assume you agree that China would like to be doing a lot of business there by buying oil, and I want to tell President Xi and President Putin, but more so in this case, President Xi, because they do need a lot of oil. And we are open for business in the United States, and we're open for business in Venezuela, right?
Go ahead, sure.
You want to I can take questions from these people all day long. You know, they're sitting here, and generally, they're very rich, very powerful, but nobody gives a damn about them. It's a sad thing. You have all that money, all that power, and look at all these crazy questions. We can do this all day long, and they wouldn't be satisfied. So, we'll take a few more now. Let me ask you more important. Do you have any questions from the biggest? Hold it. Do you have any questions for the biggest people on earth, the biggest business people, the biggest companies anywhere on earth? Do you have any questions for these people? No, do you have a question for them? Go ahead, ask them.
Building the oil infrastructure in Venezuela, and for the executives in the room, what do you need from the administration in order to do that?
That's a good question. Do you want to go and answer that question?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Small problem. Referring back to the statements I made before, there are a number of legal and commercial frameworks that would have to be established. We need to understand what kind of returns we need to put on the investments. So I think all the investments and the opportunity sets, I think everyone sitting around this table would have the opportunity and the know-how and the capability to make the investments. The questions will ultimately be how durable are the protections from a financial standpoint, what the returns look like, what the commercial arrangements, the legal frameworks, all those things have to be put in place in order to make a decision to understand what the return will be over the next several decades that these billion-dollar investments will be made on.
You know, could I do this? Because we have, again, the biggest people on the planet Earth around this table, biggest companies in the world. I'd like to just ask them to introduce themselves. We'll start from this end and go around to here. And you have anything to quickly say, we can do that. But you wanted to start right over here, these two guys, we'll leave them out because they're with us. Please.
Thank you, President Trump. John Addison at Utah. We're here to ensure that you are going to be able to move all of this oil all around the world at the best price possible so that the influence that you have over the Venezuelans will ensure that you get what you want.
Thank you. Good point. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Sheffield Era. My grandfather, Hugh Sheffield, was president of ARCA, Venezuela. Thank you. You like what we're doing? There's a lot of shale there, a lot of upside. You would be very happy with you, Dan. You'd be very proud of you right now, right? Yes, sir. Good. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'm the only Venezuelan American sitting on this, around this table. I want to personally thank you for the courage of your actions over the last couple of weeks. I think I speak, I speak of Venezuela in general in saying there's optimism, full optimism to the table, and if the conditions are met, the opportunity is absolutely immense.
I agree with that. It's true. Thank you. Well said, too. It's immense. It's a tremendous opportunity. Thank you.
En directo en YouTube, yo platican.
With your administration, Mr. President, to bring that Venezuelan oil to the United States after a special tribulation next week.
Good job. Thank you. I think the reason that most of us are here and talking about the future is because we trust you, measure the effective flow of the work and guarantee that this can be done, and there's a huge investment that needs to be done. We're all agree on that, and certainly we need time to see that. Thank you for looking at it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'm Wayne Riggs, CEO of Our Energy. We're one of those companies that refiners in the U.S. are using configured to run Venezuela, and we're more than happy as the opportunity expands for us to further invest in our refineries to produce more.
And you're very much set up for the heavy oil, right?
Yes, sir.
That's great. That's great. We're ready for it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for having us here. And thank you for opening the door to our better Venezuela. We are the Spanish company that we are fully committed to invest here in the state. We have invested over the last 15 years $21 billion in the American oil and gas industry, in Pennsylvania, in the Gulf of America, in Texas, and in Alaska, with the discovery of Pika, that is going to have the first oil this quarter, and it's going to change, and it's going to reverse the declining history of that great state of Alaska. We are in Venezuela, Mr. President, with our partners of ENI, we produce the gas that guarantees the stability of a half of the 8 hours in Venezuela. So we are committed to this stability, and on top of that, we are on the ground, we have people, we have facilities, we have technical capabilities, and I take this point, Mr. President, we are ready.
Entretenimiento y el social web.
45,000 barrels a day of oil, and we are ready to multiply by 3 this year, becoming 2-3 years, investing hard in the country, forming new recommendations to do our work, of course, and in the framework, commercial and legal framework that will allow this work. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Great job, thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for having me. Matt Sheedy, I'm with Tallgrass Energy. We are an infrastructure business, so whether it's oil, gas, CO2, we move that around. So most of my customers are sitting around the table and have to lend their expertise to what's going on in Venezuela to support the people. Now see infrastructure.
Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for being here, Mary Ann, and Marathon Petroleum. You are one of the largest U.S. refiners on behalf of the mainland of Marathon Petroleum and of our industry. Thank you, the administration, for what you're doing for the energy independence. We have the ability and capability of our assets to process Venezuelan crude and people of Marathon Petroleum.
Do we need more refineries in our country?
In the U.S., probably not. We have sufficient capacity.
It's amazing. A lot of it was approved during my first term. We were getting the approvals that nobody could have gotten in Louisiana and other places. And they got built. Before that, it was a disaster. They didn't have the refineries when we did because of the first term.
Darren was that something?
Thank you, Mr. President. Jeff Loveland, founder and chairman of Disability and Privates, one of the largest private agency companies in America. Who's bigger, you or Harold? We're close. We're close. Harold. Absolutely, Mr. Hammond. But thank you for your great tremendous leadership in protecting the interests of the industry. The message that you have sent to China and our enemies to stay out of our backyard is absolutely fantastic. So thank you. Thank you. And finally, Philport is fully committed and ready to go to rebuilding the infrastructure. You're ready to go? Yes, that's good. We'll be very happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jeff Miller, CEO of Halliburton Company. We are the largest American oilfield services company. We're the second largest in the world. Been in business over 100 years. Started operations in Venezuela in 1931. Long time in Venezuela. I personally lived there for 4 years.
Sí. pasándola bien a gusto en una tarde fresca de primavera en Tijuana. El gato bien a gusto descansando acostado, jugando, estirándose ahí en la ventana.
So quite familiar with Venezuela and just could express gratitude more so for the opportunity to
caja con harina y salsa para prepararla. Receta de cocina. Una caja que contiene harina para preparar pizza y también ya trae la salsa.
Well, we do very well, we like you very much, we don't want you there, we're not gonna be there. And we would do this, China would have been there, and Russia would have been there, maybe we both would have been there together, but they're not gonna be there now. One thing I will tell them, and I will tell you, that we are open for business. China can buy all the oil they want from us, there or in the United States. Russia can get all the oil they need from us, and they do like oil, they produce a lot of it. But China and Russia and everybody else is able to go, and we'll be open for business almost immediately. I have a feeling $100 million will be spent very, very, $100 billion will be spent very, very rapidly by these very big, powerful, and rich companies, and I think they're going to be able to rebuild the infrastructure. And I hope it's going to be brand new as opposed to a re-up, because I know there's tremendous difference between the new and the not so new in your industry. The new is much more beautiful, much better in every way, and actually much smaller. It's like everything else, it's smaller and stronger. It's a combination of smaller, better, and stronger. So I hope you're going to build all brand new stuff, rip out the old crap that's been there for so many years, and do it the right way. You're going to be there a long time. If we make a deal, you're going to be there a long time. If we don't make a deal, you won't be there at all. So it's interesting. But again, China and Russia would have been there if we didn't do this. And the other thing people ask about the second wave, I don't think it's going to be necessary. We have an armada, a giant armada like nobody's ever seen in that part of the world. And it's stationed off the coast, and we are getting along so well with the people that are involved in representing Venezuela that I don't think we're going to have any. I don't think it's going to be necessary to do the second wave. We were planning on a second wave, but the first wave was so powerful and so good and so strong. And frankly, the people in the country, they did the right thing. They were smart. They did the right thing. They didn't want to go to the second wave. But we've got a tremendous number of the most powerful ships in the world right there. I don't think we're going to have to use that. I'm happy to say that. I don't think we're going to have to use that at all. If I could ask Chevron, you did a great job. I want to thank you. And ExxonMobil, if you would say a few words, and then followed by Conoco, great companies, massive companies, great companies. Exxon, please.
Sure, thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the invitation and the opportunity, frankly, for the entire industry to show up and provide perspective. Frankly, we've been kind of unresponsive to the press with regard to Venezuela. I guess there was the opportunity to address the press directly with respect to a number of questions that have been asked of ExxonMobil. First and foremost, obviously, the interest that
Sí, güey, ya no le pegues porque si no está bien cabrón, güey, no soy un pinche niñero. No, pues venir aquí bien tranquilote.
It's it's in the best interest of, these companies and frankly, the society as a whole for the industry to be interested in understanding what the opportunity represents. I'll just share a philosophy that Mobile has in your country, doing business all around the world, in a number of different regimes. We take a very long-term perspective, the investments that we make that span decades and decades, so we do not go into any opportunity with a short, mindset, short-term mindset. There's a value proposition that we have to meet. There has to be a win-win proposition. Obviously, it has to be a win for the company and our shareholders and generate returns from the investments that we make. It has to be a win for the government and for other resources are an important source of revenue that helps support the people of the places that we do business. And it has to be a win for the people. We have to be willing to do a good neighbor. And those three things ensure a stable, long-term platform for the large investments that we make for the long term. With respect to Venezuela in particular, we have a very long history in Venezuela. In fact, we first started in Venezuela back in the 1940s. We had our assets seized there twice. And so you can imagine to re-enter a third time would require some pretty significant changes from what we've historically seen here, what is currently the state. We look at the legal and commercial constructs and frameworks in place today in Venezuela, today uninvestable. And so significant changes have to be made to those commercial frameworks, the legal system. There has to be durable investment protections, and there has to be a change to the hydrocarbon laws in the country. We're confident that with this administration, President Trump working hand in hand with the Venezuelan government, that those changes can be put in place. And with respect to the Venezuelan government, that perspective we don't have a view on. We haven't talked to the Venezuelan government, and obviously we have yet to assess the people's perspective with respect to ExxonMobil and the company, that country.
Doradita dice, le gusta todo y tú se enojas. Las tortillas y se enojan. Me gusta pasar, chamaca. Chamaca.
We also have a integrated set of capabilities from production to buying to trading, and I think we can be assistance to getting Venezuela to the market and realizing the market price to help again with the financial situation in Venezuela. So with the perspective that I have, I think, in close, I thank you, Mr. President, for the work you've done to secure not only the national security, but the security of the region. And then thank you, Secretary Rubio, Secretary Rice, Secretary Bergen, for your leadership in this matter.
How long will it take you guys as Exxon to limit it? How long will it take you to get it when it gets started?
Well, the first step is technical team. As I talked to Secretary Rice earlier this week, we started from the beginning to put together so that if and when it was needed, we could put the ground on the ground so we can hit the ground in the next couple of weeks. Start this up. And then from there, we're done.
Ah, ahora sí lo agregó Google. Oh, con razón. Me corrigieron. Es una actualización, pero no tardaron. ¿Cuánto tardarían? ¿Una hora? 2 horas, en 2 horas que salió la actualización. Ah, ahí está el nuevo. Qué bueno. Ah, ok, vale, ya está. Desde aquí pegaron más en el otro, pero en el como son la como hinchada. Por eso ya luego ni quiero grabar videatas. Ahí te voy a grabar uno en esto. Pues ahí vale, ¿no? Ok. Comentarios. Muchos comentarios mágicos. Pues sí, me saqué. Aquí no les puedo. El tramping. que habían fallas mágicas. Qué cosas.
Por ahora tampoco. Se van a preocupar de definir, detallar y saber. Quieren hacer todo el trabajo en la zona del interior. Fijaos, hoy se reportaban ataques militares inmediatos a ataques militares en general. También ataques generales en paredes, amigos. Atentos, que empiezan los problemas generales. La oposición saudí
una conversación telefónica con Seguro Iraní se quiere capaz a la de Chile, ante la ciudad de enero y comienza más de
Saludos visitantes de Share Web. Saludos visitantes de shareweb.com. Soy Daniel Reyes y en esta ocasión les doy la más cordial de las bienvenidas a esto que es el show de Share Web. Ahí está, se lo voy a dejar en 50 ya. Bueno, ahí van a disculpar, pero tuve que corregir el audio. Nada, pues el día de hoy vamos a estar aquí chusqueando. No sé cómo se llama esto, pero debe ser algún tipo de directo. Una sesión mágica o algo así. Total, que esto que ya, ¿verdad? Martes en vivo, dice. ¿A poco ya? A ver. Sí, mira, martes en la oficina. Con el show de Chale, voy a botar las charlas con él. Y no sé qué dice. Bueno, pues ahí está. Lo que se pudo, se pudo. Oye, creo que Marta no me dejó nada de comer. Ahí estamos, sí. O ya comí, ya ni me acuerdo. Ah, no, creo que tengo que ir a comer. Pues vámonos a las acciones. Vámonos a las acciones.